Hi, I'm Penni Martorell. I'm the curator at Wistariahurst, and I'm also Holyoke City Historian. And in collaboration with my director, Kate Preisler, we decided to see what we could put up online to capture what's happening with people locally and how they're feeling and what kind of things they want to share and hold in memory for the community later.
It is really amazing to be able not only to have history under your research and your custody, but now this amazing, possibly once in a lifetime opportunity of writing and documenting history as it happens.
Exactly, exactly. And part of this comes from, being a historian and being exposed to people's journals and daily writings from the past. Sometimes when you look at those things, they're just mundane things that they wrote about what the weather was and where they were and who they were with and where they went. Doesn't seem very exciting. But in retrospect, you realize that some of the things that they experienced were unique for that time. And we are in a very, very unique position right now of what the United States is going through and our communities are going through right now is unprecedented. And so we had to figure out some way to capture something of that. And to hear the community's voice, because what I see is one thing, but what you see is another thing, and how it affects individuals is very different.
So this idea of creating a collective memory that could be also part of the history, what exactly means for the community to be able to participate? Because this is pretty much an open invitation for everyone in the Holyoke community to contribute with its own story, part of the history.
Right. So we are a community archive. Taxpayer dollars go to keeping the history that we keep. And so rather than being a gatekeeper and deciding what needs to be saved, we're really looking to the community to tell us what is meaningful to them. And we would love to get a cross view of older folks, younger folks, um, different communities in the different neighborhoods, how it's affecting families, how it's affecting school children, elders, all those kinds of points of view, because that's what makes history so rich, is when you have the more point of views to see how it's not only one line of story, there's multiple stories that can be told. Yeah.
So how can people get those stories, be part of this archive?
So there's a link on our webpage. On our front page, there's a banner that it says community response to the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. And it's a banner, white banner with little purple balls on it. So you can just click on that, and that will take you to a Google form. And in order to use a Google form, which is a very simple way of collecting things, you do need to have a Gmail account. So you would have to set up that. But if you already have a Gmail account, you can just go in. It'll ask you a few questions. It will also describe the project. The few limitations are on the size of the files. So it can't be larger than 10 megabytes. So you have to look at the size of your files. For especially audio or video, they tend to be a little bit larger than just a standard image or text document. And then just being responsible in terms of privacy. So, you want to refer to your own situation and not reveal other people's medical issues, because we know that's affecting a lot of people that way. And tell us your story. Like I said, there's one field that if you just want to type in a quick note of what you're feeling today, or reflection that you've considered, you can do that. You can upload a text file or a document that you've already written of a JPEG or photograph image of something that you've seen that's unique to the time, or a video or audio recording such as these. Yeah. So it's pretty simple. We're, like I said, we're kind of winging it. It's going to be interesting to see what people want to save and want to share. And it'll be held in confidence for 5 years until the 5th anniversary in May, and then we will share the information with the public. So that's another thing you want to consider with what you're sharing, that it will be part of the public record, so people can use it to research later on.
And again, this is a really important part of keeping history on the current days we are having and during this year 2020, and thinking on future generations when they look back at this year and see, okay, it happened, whether it was a pandemic, but how people managed to get by day, because you're going to have, of course, the official information, the official story, but then those small details like you were referring on the archives, those are stories that most of the time they only get the chance to be passed on by oral way, when generations through families. Oh yeah, I remember when your grand parents did this. This is a perfect opportunity to do it in a way that it could be shared with the community, through the community, and utilizing the technology we are utilizing just right now in order to keep in touch.
Yeah, exactly. And part of this came from a conversation I had with my grandmother way back when about the Spanish flu. I remember her telling me about her experience during that in 1918. And then when this whole pandemic started, I checked in with my mom and asked her if she had ever experienced anything to this level. And she couldn't recall anything. And, you realize what a unique position we're in right now. And to let it go and not collect those personal stories would be, a letdown for history, for future generations. And so, yeah, and like you said, it's the personal stories, the family stories, the stories of the community that people really find interesting. The official record is there. There's going to be statistics and tracking and all of that. We don't have to worry about that being stored for history. We do need to worry about the personal stories and how it's affecting and changing our lives each day that it goes by. I mean, how many weeks has it been already? And the changes that we've adjusted to in our lives, we've just kind of rolled with. And there needs to be some way to document that. And this seemed like a quick and easy way to start that. And I'm hoping that the community will find some time and put some energy into doing just that.
The information for submission is available at the Wistariahurst.org website, and also is available in both English and Spanish. So it is expected that submissions can also be bilingual or even multilingual, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. There's no limitations on that. Language-wise, that would be perfect.
Well, Penny, thank you so much for doing this, for continuing doing this work of keeping the history alive, and now writing it as it happens. This is certainly a great idea that it talks about journalism, history, and documenting our lives, because this, I think, and I know, I'm positive it's going to be of a lot of help for future generations to learn and to see the perspective of what was live in 2020.
Yeah, thank you, Johan, for giving voice to this and helping us share it with the community. Appreciate it.